Hello everyone, my name is Tyler, and welcome to AI Football Prediction Lab, Europe's most trusted football prediction channel. We're back with a brilliant episode featuring 3 exciting games from 2 different competitions. One match comes from the FIFA Club World Cup, the only round of 16 fixture we haven't covered yet, Borussia Dortmund versus Monterrey. The other 2 are from the CONCACAF Gold Cup semi-finals, USA versus Guatemala and Mexico versus Honduras. As for the kickoff times in the UK, Dortmund versus Monterrey begins on July 2nd at 2 a.m. Both Gold Cup matches are scheduled for July 3rd. USA versus Guatemala kicks off at midnight, and 3 hours later, Mexico versus Honduras begins at 3 a.m. Please remember that depending on your time zone, these matches might fall on a different date or time. As always, our football expert Luca has analysed all 3 matches and will share his predictions with you. And make sure to stay until the end for our top predictions segment. It features the picks we trust the most. We're proud to say that over the past 10 days, our accuracy rate has approached 90%. Our hard work is clearly paying off. You can check the final results of all our predictions on our Instagram page. However, we have to say this. Without your support, we simply can't keep producing videos this often, or at this level of quality. Yes, this project runs on passion, but it also needs a bit of fuel to keep going. If you'd like to help us stay on track, you can do so by clicking the thanks button below. Big or small, every bit of support truly makes a difference, and we appreciate it more than words can say. Now, if you're ready, let's hand it over to Luca and hear what he has to say about these 3 exciting matchups.
Hello everyone, Luca here. I hope you're all doing well. Let's kick things off with my prediction and analysis for Borussia Dortmund versus Monterrey, a round of 16 match in the FIFA Club World Cup. After that, we'll move on to the CONCACAF Gold Cup semi-finals. Alright, here's what I think about Dortmund versus Monterrey. Let's start by saying that Monterrey has definitely been one of the teams adding colour and excitement to this tournament. They're the only team left from the CONCACAF region in the round of 16, and of course their goal is to reach the quarter-finals, no matter how strong the opponent. Though, looking at the draw and considering the presence of giants like Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, facing Borussia Dortmund is actually a decent opportunity for them. They know it won't be easy, but they believe they can make it to the next round. In fact, just about 24 hours after this match, the Mexican national team will play their Gold Cup semi-final. So for Mexican football, this is a very special 24 hours. If Monterrey reaches the quarterfinals and Mexico advances to the final, it would be pure celebration across the country. And the players are well aware of this. They're highly motivated. As we've mentioned in previous videos, Monterrey has several players with serious European experience. Names like Jesus Corona, Sergio Ramos, Lucas Ocampos, and Oliver Torres. These players have competed in top European leagues, won domestic titles, and even lifted European trophies. This is by no means an inexperienced squad. That said, Monterrey finished second in their group with 5 points, but they showed some defensive weaknesses. In their first match, they drew 1-1 with Inter, who created plenty of chances but failed to finish them. Against River Plate, Monterrey spent most of the match under pressure. They were on the defensive and struggled to take control. They did well to secure a draw, and luck was certainly on their side. However, in their final group game against Uriverret, Monterrey showed just how dangerous they can be in attack. Most of their goals were truly spectacular, and they walked away with a confident 4-0 victory. So yes, Monterrey are coming into this game feeling sharp and dangerous in attack. Now let's talk about Borussia Dortmund. They finished top of their group, ahead of Palmeiras, Ulsan Hyundai, and Mamelodi Sundowns, with 2 wins and a draw. But to be honest, they didn't look particularly convincing. Yes, we can factor in the long season, the tough pitch conditions, and the extreme heat, but they haven't looked like a dominant side so far. Still, I do believe they'll come into this knockout game with more motivation. And there's one storyline worth mentioning. Jude Bellingham's brother, Joe Bellingham, is now part of the Dortmund squad. If Dortmund beat Monterrey and Real Madrid beat Juventus, we could see the Bellingham brothers face each other in the quarterfinals, a great football moment in the making. It's also worth noting that the match will be played in cool, stable conditions, around 22 degrees Celsius, which definitely favours Dortmund, who are more used to colder climates. Now let's move on to my predictions. My first prediction is over 1.5 total goals in 90 minutes. Yes, Dortmund haven't exactly shown strong attacking signals so far, apart from their game against Mamelodi, but Monterrey's defense does look a bit shaky. Sometimes they play brave, open football, and that could allow Dortmund to score at least once. If Dortmund take the lead, Monterrey will respond by opening up even more, and that usually leads to goals. Or, in the other scenario, Monterrey might start fast, catch Dortmund off guard, and score first, which again would open the game up. Either way, I believe we'll see at least 2 goals in this match. My second prediction is that Monterrey will have at least 1 shot on target in the first half. Monterrey may start the match with high intensity, looking to take advantage while motivation and energy are at their highest. So yes, I expect at least 1 shot on target from them before the break. To sum it all up, yes, Dortmund are slightly ahead on paper, but I wouldn't call them clear favourites. This is a tricky game to predict, and Monterrey could very well surprise us. Now moving on to the second match, the CONCACAF Gold Cup semi-final between the USA and Guatemala. Guatemala have pulled off a massive surprise by reaching this stage. It's been a very long time since they've achieved anything like this. Yes, getting out of the group was already impressive, but eliminating Canada in the quarterfinals, even if it was on penalties, is an even bigger accomplishment. Now they're up against the United States, with absolutely no pressure on their shoulders. Nobody expected them to come this far in the first place. In fact, this is Guatemala's first Gold Cup semi-final since 1996. When we look back at the Canada game, even though Canada played the entire second half with 10 men, we saw that Guatemala are not the kind of team that just parks the bus. They play brave football, showing that Guatemala can be a real attacking threat to any opponent. As for the United States, yes, they cruised through the group stage, but they came very close to being knocked out by Costa Rica in the quarterfinals. They're missing big names like Pulisic, Yunus Musa, McKennie, and Robinson, but they still have a very experienced manager on the bench, Mauricio Pochettino. The USA failed to reach the final in the previous edition of this tournament, and they won't want to let another surprise happen here. They are the favourites, and I believe they'll play with intensity and control from start to finish. My first prediction is USA to have at least 5 corners. Given their attacking pressure and tendency to push from the wings, I expect them to force multiple corners against Guatemala. Especially if they fall behind or can't score early, we could see even more corners throughout the match. My second prediction is a bit riskier, but I believe we'll see at least 1 goal in each half. Why? Because against Canada, Guatemala didn't sit back and play defensively. They pushed forward and created chances. They may score again here, but defensively, they're not very solid. So I think it's likely we'll see at least 1 goal in the first half, and in the second half, if one team is behind, we can definitely expect another goal. That's why I'm going with at least 1 goal in both halves. The second semi-final features a clash between Mexico and Honduras. Mexico came into this tournament as one of the top favorites, right alongside the USA, and so far they haven't disappointed. With several key players from top European clubs, they've looked sharp, focused, and fully prepared. They cruised through the group stage with 7 points and followed it up with a confident 2-0 win over Saudi Arabia in the quarterfinals. Defensively, they've been solid. Apart from a wild 3-2 win over the Dominican Republic, they've rarely looked troubled at the back. On the other hand, Honduras have already surpassed expectations by reaching the semi-finals. They picked up 6 points in the group stage and knocked out Panama on penalties. Still, it's important to remember they conceded 6 goals to Canada in their opening game, a major red flag. Yes, they've fought hard, but this will be their biggest test yet. My first prediction, Mexico to win in 90 minutes. They have the quality, experience, and momentum, and they'll want to get the job done without complications. My second prediction, over 1.5 total goals. Honduras have leaked goals throughout the tournament against Canada, Curacao, and Panama, so we're expecting at least a couple of goals in this one too. That's all for the analysis and predictions of these 3 matches, but stay tuned. Our top predictions are coming up next. Thank you for watching and being with us.